All right, got it. All right. Morning, gentlemen. All right, today is Daf Ayin Hey. Daf Yomi.
Welcome back, Riley.
Thank you very much. Nice to be back. Nice to be here.
What time are you doing Sunday?
As a Sunday, I'm okay with doing it after davening, if people want.
Wait, does anybody else want that?
Historically, we've never done that, but I'm okay with it.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Before or after davening on Sunday?
I guess we'll do it before. Yeah.
Huh?
Huh? Yeah, we'll do it before.
We can't
Do it
speak.
before.
Normal 6:45, and we'll tape it, and then Yeah. Thank you, Netflix pajamas. All right. So 5 lines on the top. Ayin Hey Amud Aleph.
All right, dude.
A lot of it got it. All right, here we go. It says the Nachash offer lachmo. It says the Nachash, right? The curse is the snake who will eat dust. It will be his bread. So Rabbi Yami Barbas Yichad Omar Afilu Eichel Kol Madnei Olam Toim Behem Tam Offer. One says even doesn't eat anything in the world doesn't make a difference. Good food, bad food. All the curse was it all tastes like dirt, right? V'chad Omar. That one says Afilu Eichel Kol Madnei Olam Ein Daitem Yishevas Alav Ad Sheyechel Offer. Says no. It means that even if you eat all the good treats of the world, nevertheless the snake's mind won't be at ease until it eats dust. And Tanam Rab Yaisi. Come see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is his ways are not like the ways of man. How so? Right? Manki des Chaverov. Excuse me. Midas basar v'dam. Midas basar v'dam. Manki Chavero Yerd Imo L'chayim. Right, if a person goes ahead and he goes ahead and he attacks or he curses somebody and he hurts somebody, so he avoids him. So basically, the person's sustenance, is also cursed with him. He can't separate the two. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not like that. Kilas anachash, curse the snake. A snake goes up the roof. He'll find food up there. He goes down on the ground. He'll find food there. There's always food for him to find. Kilas Canaan. He cursed Canaan. He'll be a slave. Right? He eats what his master eats. You can be a slave, but part of coming with the slave is you're going to get sustenance. You're going to eat what your master eats. You're going to drink what your master drinks. Kilas Isha. Right, curse the woman. So man will run after you. Kilas Adama, curse the ground. Everyone's going to go ahead and be sustained from the ground. So So it says over there, the people lamented. Oh, we remember the daga, the fish that we ate the Mitzrayim. So top wide line. Actually, this is a medium line. Right, this is the only medium line on the page. So Rav Shmuel Chadamar Dogin. One says when he says, "Oh, the fish, the free fish we had, right? Remember the fish we had in Mitzrayim." So one says mamish fish, referring to actually eating food. One says there's reference to a rice. So listen, relations. Man, the Omar dogin dechsiv says the dogin dechsiv. We'll see. Man, the dogin dechsiv. The reason why the one says it's little because it says that we ate the fish. Man, the rice dechsiv chinam. It says free, right? It was free. No, it was free from Avera. It wasn't usher to them. And therefore, they're lamenting that these illicit relations, which are now usher from Chavi Krisis, were not forbidden for them in Mitzrayim, and they were lamenting the loss of that. I says eating. So it was using, eating was referring to relations, was just using a nicer lashon. As we have an example of that, it says, Achlo machta pia. Rama lo palti ava, right? So the pasuk over there is Dalit, right? Pasuk in Mishlei, right, was reference to relations. It uses the lashon of achla, right? Achla machtapia, right? Well, the man diamar dog. If the one says fish, what does it mean? If fish, what was free? So the havi ma'asinu lahu mefkera. That was they would get it a hefker. Damar mark shayu Yisrael shavi mai when they used to go ahead and draw water. Hakadosh Baruch Hu mazmin lahem b'say chamayim dogim katani b'kadeya. So that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when they used to go ahead and draw water, he would put small fish in there, and basically they wouldn't have to go ahead and work for the fish. HaKadosh Baruch Hu would give them free fish. So this makes sense according to the opinion who holds that in other words they were talking about that we had the free fish, but they weren't committing arayas. The pasuk says gan naul achoti kala, right, referring to over there that they that it was closed off, locked off from my sister, the bride, and I was saying that there was no illicit relations. El Laman Diamar arise, but according to the opinion holds that there was a rayis man mine chasum. So what does it mean that this spring was sealed? So those that were usher, those that were forbidden to bnei Noach, such as relations with one's mother, that they were careful with. So in other words, yes, they did not commit any averas at the time when they were only commanded as bnei Noach. But now, all of a sudden, when they're bnei Yisrael and they have further commandments, all of a sudden they began to complain. And it says over there, and Moshe, the people crying right, to their families. What does it mean? Right, on the matters of the families, right? The matters of the families, that these once upon a time relationships are now forbidden. Because they're no longer able to go ahead and lie with them. But according to the opinion who holds that there was fish. So what does it mean? They were crying over the mishpachaisa. So it was both. When it says dog, it was referring to, yes, they were lamenting over the free fish, but over here they were crying over iske mishpachaisa, right? Matters with their relatives that are once upon a time in Mitzrayim were permitted to them, but now they have become forbidden. Then it says, it says over there, this, I think 5 different things that were right that they had in Mitzrayim, right? As a kishuv, as a vatichim, as a chatzir, as a betzelim, as a ishumim, right? So it says over there. So what's going on here? Now they had mud. So, but why are you crying over, cucumbers and, gourds and all that? So, Rabbi Ami Rabasi Chad Omar Tam Chalaminim Tamu B'man Tam Chamishes Aminim Halulay Tamu. But one says that really that man could taste like anything, but cannot taste like one of these things, because these items are not necessarily good for a woman who is pregnant, and therefore it was taken out of the sort of the menu for the flavors of the man. That was all the others, that this one was everything flavors and the what's it called, and the consistency, right, were the same. However, these they did have the flavors of it, but it wasn't the same sort of consistency. Fine. Then it says, speaking of the iman, it says v'hu kezera gad lavan, right? And it was white kezera gad lavan, right? It was like a gad, which is a coriander seed, and it was white. So Amr Vasi agol kagida, it was round like this coriander seed. V'lavan kamargulis, and it was white like a pearl. And similarly, Zayin Tanarabon, yeah. So Tanarabon. So God Zera Pishtan Bigulin. Some say it was like a seed. It was rounded like a seed. It was like in a capsule, like a seed. And Acherim God Shedoimed LaHagadas Shemaishcha Liboy Shel Adam Kamay. It was good. It means coming from the word Haggadah, right? To draw over. That it basically, they followed it like a person, follows, like the flow of water. In other words, it was very appealing to the people. And Tani Idach, God, Shemagid Amisel, Ben Tisha Larishon, Ben Shiva Liachron. And also, God, what does it mean? That was like it wasn't meaning coriander seed, or coming from the word Lahagid, basically to tell them, it would tell people that it would create, it would resolve questions of, let's say, the Maury Povich show, right? Or who is the father, right? So if he has, the halach is over there that the person, a woman, has to wait 3 months in order to remarry. Why is the person of waiting 3 months? Because you have to see if she was pregnant and she gives birth right away. Was it a full term 9 months from my first husband, or was it the second one? There was no paternity test, or for the second husband, it was early, so we didn't know. So you have to wait a minute of time. But let's say they didn't wait the minute of time. You don't know who the father is. So the mun would answer it. How so? Because the mun would show every household will get the appropriate amount. So they'd see the mun, whichever it was, when you bring it back to the house and they take it out. So whichever house had the extra portion, that was the house where the father was from, whether it was the first husband or second husband. So therefore, the mun was basically the paternity test of whether it was belonged 9 months to the first father or husband, or 7, or 7 to the second. right? The benchmark, and another one say, what does it mean? Lavan, that was white. Shamalbin of the same Shalisol. Basically, it would whiten the Averas of Israel. And Tan Rabbi Yaisi, Omer says Rabbi Yaisi, Kishem Shanavi, Hayag Amagi the Israel, Mash Bechurin, Mash Besadikim, just like the Navi Israel can go ahead and say what's in holes and cracks and things that people cannot be seen to the naked eye. It's like Hachamad Magidam Israel, Mash Bechurin, Mash Besadikim. So too, the man would also be able to tell Bnei Israel things that were sort of also hidden in cracks, right, and unseen to the naked eye. Case that house of Shnaim Shabol Lifnei Moshe Ladin. Two came for Moshe Rabbeinu Ladin. Zemer Avdi Ganafta. This one guy says, "Hey, you stole my slave." Zemer Atamacharkili. Right? No, you sold it to me. So Amalam Moshe. So Moshe Rabbeinu said to them, "Labok here, mishpat." Right? In the morning, right, we're going to have judgment. Right? Lamachar. So the next day, they say when they take them on. Evening, so Rabbi Rishon, if the extra portion for the slave was in the first master's house, they do a shazeh ganov. Right, so you see over here that the second guy didn't pay for it, and the guy deservingly should have been in house one. So therefore, the man would basically decide it. And evening, so Rabbi Sheni, and if the man was located in the second person's house, then you know for certain that they had an agreement. He paid the money, and then he is now the new rightful owner of the slave. So to a man and a woman, Moshe. They come to Moshe Rabbeinu looking for a divorce. One, whatever the reason is, either he was wrong to her or she was wrong to him. And if she was wrong to him, then she should really stay with him, right? And if he was wrong to her, then she, really has a right to leave. So he says, she was the one who was acting inappropriately, but she can still live with me. No, no, he abuses me. He was the one. He did bad to me. So Moshe Laboker in the morning, the mishpat, we'll have a judgment. So Lamacher the next day evening, if her portion is in their husband's house, right, that she wronged him, and therefore he's still, she should still be living with him. However, if now her portion is now in her father's house, then it's known that he was the one who, violated her or acted inappropriately, and therefore she has the right to divorce. Fine. See, the pasuk says, "Hatal alamachane laila yered haman alav." So it says over there, right, that the towel, the dew would come upon the machane laila, and then it would go onto the mud. Uksiv, and one pasuk says, the people went out, right, in the fields together. Uksiv, the people have to go roam out and fire. So one of them sounds like it was mamash in the machne. The other one sounds like they have to go a little bit further, and that one says they have to go roam to go ahead and find it. So okay, Tzad, how is that? The tzaddikim would open up the doors, and the man would be right there. The beinanim, they have to go into the camp, right outside the camp. We get it from there. And the Rishayim, they would have to roam and go ahead and find their portions. See, one pasuk says lechem, uksiv ugos, uksiv tachna. One says they receive mamish bread, the final, right, the final best product. Then one says ugos, right, the rounded cakes, which are not necessarily fully processed. And one that says they have to go ahead and tachna, they have to grind it. No, it's basically they have flour, they have to start from scratch. So okay, so how do you answer this psukim? Once again, tzaddikim lechem, those who are righteous, they got it. There's in the final portion, they got lechem, beinonim ugos. When they got the beinonim, they got the middle people. They would get ugos mashayim. They would have to go ahead and tachim berachem. They'd have to go ahead and start grinding it with their mill. And it says, dachu b'madeicha. It says that also they pounded it with a mortar and pestle, right? So I'm Rav Yudam Rav, B'Teimer Rav Chama Rav Kinina Malamid Sheyarad Lahem Yisrael Imaman Takshit Inashim. It means over there that in addition to coming down with the man was also like the fragrance for women, right? Some sort of fragrance also came down with the man. Right. Well, but it's coming from the word they're grinding, right? So they had to grind something that's grind, that's ground like their perfume, like I guess they grind it down. So that was referring to that. And ubishlu b'paro, right? No, it's right. Davar sheniduch b'meducha. In other words, right? They got something that came down that requires a mortar, such as a woman's perfume or whatever has to be grounded down. Ubishulo keparo, and they go ahead and they cooked it in a pot. Things that spices that need to go in a pot, those things also came down with the man. It says over there, when they're bringing gifts from the Mishkan, they brought it. The pasuk used the lashon of O Nadava Baboker. So my Baboker. What does it mean Baboker? So Amar Bishul Barachman Amar Yonasan Midavar Shiar Lahem Baboker. In other words, they would bring things that came with them every morning. What came every morning? The man. But what else? Malamed Shiar Dalam Yisrael Avonim Taibos Maglios in the man. In addition to the man, was jewels and precious stones would also come down with the man, right? And it says Vanasim Heviu as Avnei Shoam, right? And the Nasim would go ahead and they would bring the Avnei Shoam, the stones of Shoam, Satana, Nasim Mamish. It doesn't just, even though Nasim usually means a prince, right? Nasim Mamish, right? Rashi says, right? The last Rashi on the left, right? Anonim Hayu, right? Clouds. Now, the clouds brought them in. The Nasim referring to clouds brought in these precious stones. How? Because the clouds brought, I guess it rained down the man, and then those were brought the next morning. It says Nasim Beruach V'Geshanai. It says there, right? There was no wind, clouds, or rain. V'Hayu Tamo Ketam Lashad Hasham, right? And it says over there that its taste was like needed, right? The Lashad Hashem. So what does it mean? The shas. So ma shad ze tinag taim b'kamatamim. So just like when a child nurses, right? I guess it tastes, tastes the food that the mother eats. So to the man calls not she so So too, as when they used to go ahead and Bnei would eat it, also their man would have various flavors. The shade mamish, it would be mamish like a shade. Just like a shade basically can change its form, its appearance, so too the man will also change its form and appearance. So Moshe Rabbeinu said to them, right, Hashem will give you meat to eat in the evenings and bread to eat in the mornings. So Tanam Shmei Rabbi Shulman Karcha Basar Sheshalo Shalok Hugan Nitem Lahem Shalok Hugan. So meat that was asked inappropriately. In other words, when they said meat, right, it wasn't a real logical argument. They said you can't survive without meat, right? Which is not true, right? So therefore, since they asked inappropriately, they were answered inappropriately by giving them, right, the meat at night. We'll soon see. Right, because the meat at night, you need time to prepare the meat, right? So if you get the meat at night, you don't have time to prepare it, right? You need it really in the morning or the day in order to cook it. So therefore, they weren't given the meat, right, in the appropriate times. They were given shalok hugan, not the optimal way. And lechem shalok hugan. However, bread, which they were asked, they did ask properly. You can't live without bread. You need sustenance, right? So then, then they would get it in the morning like a proper way. So from here we learn the person should only eat meat at night. Person goes ahead and eats a meal. She only eat it during the day so you can see what you're eating, right? You shouldn't eat blind. Perhaps you'll eat something, bugs or other things that you shouldn't go in your mouth. So it says, no, when it says eat your meal during the day, if you have one meal, your mama coming in like the day. Now let's make it light like the day so you can see exactly what you're putting in your mouth. And Amrav Acha Bar Yaakov Betchilo Hayu Yisrael Daibin Katarnagolim Shanika Ba'ashba. In the beginning, they were like chickens, right? They would peck everywhere and eat all the time, right? However, until Moshe came and says Zman Suda, right? Bread in the morning, and then meat is your evening meal. V'habasar Odena Ben Shinehem, right? And the meat was still in their mouths, right? And some died. And some say it was a month of days. So okay, it said, how's that? So Beinon el Alter Mesu. So the those who were sort of bad, right? So they died right away. They didn't suffer. However, the Rishayim, they would go ahead and suffer up to a month. Now we will discuss the Slav. So also it was like a type of bird meat, right? So it says Vayish Techu. What is Vayish Techu? Amar Shlokish. Right? And they slaughtered, they shechted. Shechita means that it was referring to Bnei Israel. They really deserved shechita. They're inappropriately, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not wipe them out. And it says over there, Shatuach, so Tana Shed Rabbi Shimon Karcha, Al Teki Shatuach Ella Shachut. Right? Shachut Melam Shelam Yisrael Imaman Davar Shatuach Shechita. So over here, something else came with the man, which needed to be shechted, i.e. the slav. And Amar Rebbe, Wait, you're learning shchita over here. This is halachas of shchita. But like for Nemar, we have somewhere else. It says over there, it says over there, and it was their meat came down like afar, right? It came down to them like dirt, right? And there were birds, right, upon the sea. Betanya, Rabbi Yomi, v'zavachta kasher tzivisicha. Says over there, you shechted like I commanded you. So you see that you're supposed to go ahead and shecht birds, right? So over there we say just like by animals they were commanded to go ahead and shecht, so too by birds you're commanded to shecht. So it says over there by the two pipes, when it comes to the bird you need the majority of one, and it comes to animals you need the majority of both. What does it mean shatuach? There were layers and layers of this slav that came down. Ksiv lechem, ksiv shemen, ksiv dvash. It says that there, a reference to the man. It was like bread. It was like oil, right? It was like honey. Some Rabbi Yisber Chanina lenarim to younger, right? The younger people, lechem was bread. The zakanim elders, it was shemen, and the tinagas dvash, and to young children, it was sweet like honey. And ksiv shlav, the karinan slav, right? It's written with a shin, right? But we read it like a samach, right, or a sin, right? So Amar Rabbi Chanina tzadikim eichlin oisa b'shalva, right? Because the shla means they eat it b'shalva, right? They eat it in peace, right? And Rishayim eichlin asa v'daim lehen kisilvin, right? However, the Rishayim, when they eat it, the slab would go down like thorns. It would not go smoothly like those who ate it in tranquility. And Amar Rav Chanan bar Abba arba mine slav hayu. There were 4 types of slav Elohein. There was sichli, the kivli, the psiani, the slav. Right? There were 4 types of, I guess, this slav, this bird. Ma'alya dechulu sichli. The sichli was the best, and geria dechulu slav. The slav was like the lowest level. However, what was about the slav, even the lowest level of bird, right? How fatty and how good was that? So what did they do with it? It was small like a bird. And they would put this small bird inside the oven. It would basically fill, as it would heat up, it would expand and fill the entire oven. They would put on top of like 13 loaves of bread. And then not only that, there was so much fat and grease, it would go through 13 loaves of bread, even to the bottom. Even the bottom was too much that you couldn't go ahead and eat alone. You had to eat it with something else. So that was how fatty and good this type of bird was. Fine. Rabbi Yehuda Mishech Lebei Beidani. So many generations later, right, at the time of the Amoraim, Rabbi Yehuda also you'd find the type of Slav, right, between his barrels, some sort of miracle, that he was sent. Rav Chizda Mishech Beitzivi, he would find Rav Chizda would find by his barn. And Rav Maisila Arise Koyama and Rava's worker, he used to come every day, his sharecropper, his aris, and bring him every day. However, one day he didn't bring him in my house. He says, "What's going on?" Salik Ligra. He went up to the attic, and sure, the Yanuka to come and he heard a child, right, learning a pasuk. Oftentimes, the children learning a pasuk is like a shtichel nevuah, and the pasuk was Shamati Vatirkis Bidni, right? And I heard, and my inside was all shaken up. Right? So what does it mean? And that day happened to be Rav Chizda, who was his father-in-law, passed away. It's because of his father-in-law, because of Rav Chizda, that's why I got the Slav every day. But now, today that he passed, which is the reference to the pasuk, and therefore that's the reason why it's no longer available. See, the pasuk says, "Batal shichvas hatal," and says over there that they came upon the level of the tal. Ksiva read this hatal. And then another place it says the tal was first, the dew was first. Another place it says the tal came out last. So what's going on here? So Rabbi Yezir Chanina al satal milamala, the tal milamata. So it says over there, so it says over there that when it comes to the mun, really the dew was on the bottom, and the dew was also on top, and the mun was in the middle, right? Similar to what we do on Shabbos, right? Cover up, top and bottom, right? Tablecloth, cover. Similar to the dew that covered the mun. It says over there, dak, it was thin, mechuspas. So Amar was mechuspas, Amar Reish Lakish, davar shemin nimuach al pisa sayad, right? It was something that would melt in their hands, right? I guess not like M&Ms, right? M&Ms smells in your mouth, not in your hands, right? So this would it was so divine that it would just melt and get absorbed. Something that would be absorbed into 248 Avarim limbs. Why? Because 248 is the gematria of mechuspas. Is it? Some things out of the calculate. Mechuspas tubavi. It's actually 6 more. So Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak mechuspas. If it says mechuspas without the vav, so take out the vav, it's 248, and therefore it basically absorbed into the 248 limbs, and there was no extra. We'll soon see. There was no necessity to go to the bathroom. Right? Everything was absorbed within. It was the perfect amount of food for the people. And Tanur Rabbanan says, Lechem abirim achal ish. It says Lechem abirim, they ate. So what does it mean? Lechem shalach sharis eichlin oso. Right? They were the bread that was eaten by the Malchei Sharis. So Dibi Rabbi Akiva has the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Havok shemet dvarim lifnei Rabbi Yishmael. When the Rabbi Yishmael Amar Lehem Tzuga Amar Akiva Tarisa. Go ahead and find Akiva and tell him Akiva made a mistake. I the Malchei Sharis eichlin lechem. Do the Malchei Sharis eat bread? But like for Nemar, the pasuk says Lechem lo chalti mayim lo shasisi. Right? He said he was like the malachim. I didn't eat bread. I didn't drink water. Elamani mikayim abirim. What does it mean abirim? Lechem shenivla b'masayim ve'arba shmona ivarim. Right? It was a reference to 248. Right? 248 is the amount of limbs. Maybe it's the bread of the limb is referring to the bun. It was absorbed right into the body, right to the limbs like the man. Elamani mikayim v'yasati lecha al aznecha. It says over there you should have a shovel with you in order to go to the bathroom. So if it was absorbed in their limbs, there was no need to go to the bathroom. So what is it talking about there? So it says no. Right? They also, in addition to the man, they also you found a couple of peddlers along the road. They used to go ahead and buy some of their trinkets and whatnots and food, and from that they had to go to the bathroom. And Rabbi Yezer ben Prata Aimer no after mon mafigon. Even if they ate other foods, the man would basically cure that you wouldn't have to go to the bathroom. So if that's the case, elamani mikaye biyasiti elachal znecha. In addition to your weapons, you should need a shovel to go to the bathroom, right? So this is la'achar shesarchu, means after that they rebelled and they sinned. That's when there was going to be a need for their body acting in a normal way, or going to the bathroom. This is
referring to kibbutz haaretz. And by that time, the man had already stopped.
Well, it was before.
Because
right.
This comes in Parshas Kisava. When you go to war against your enemy.
Right, but this is even before. This is even when they were in the midbar. Right?
Yeah.
Even in the midbar.
This mitzvah of yes,
right. No, but that was even said by in the midbar, when they were in the midbar.
Yes, but it's in reference to when you go to war against your enemy. This is what you do. You have to have a shovel with you.
Right. I have to find. I look at. I don't have the chumash here. So, right. Fine. We'll go weiter. But it's a good point. So he said, I told you guys that you would be like Malach Sharis. However, but now that you sinned and you complained, now you're gonna have to go even up to 3 parsa to go to the bathroom. And how do you know that distance? The pasuk says, ad Avil Hashitim, right? They encamped over there from the Yarden, right? From Beis Hashimos until Avil Hashitim. I saw that place. It was 3 parsa. Matana. When they went to the bathroom, when you go to the bathroom, they wouldn't go on the side of them or behind them. They would have to go ahead and mamash leave the machna. So therefore, they have to go out up to 3 parsa in order to go to the bathroom. Viata. Nafshenu Yevesha ankle. But now there's nothing. So Amru Asid Man Zesh Kibuch B'Meim. And now eventually the man is going to go ahead and get bigger in our intestines. We're not going to the bathroom. Right? Even by a woman, anything that grows in there eventually comes out. So they were complaining that, hey, we're not going to the bathroom. Something's going in, nothing's going out. So that was a complaint that they had to figure they had to go to the bathroom. All right, we'll stop here. So Sunday, Mitzvah Hashem, 6:45. We'll get where we get. If we don't finish it, like we said, then we'll just catch up on Monday. Shkoyach, everybody. Have a good Shabbos and.